want you guys to understand today is that was the official launch of the company. And there were so many things that happened and had to happen before that event, things that happened behind the scenes, guys, relationships that were created years before that were just instrumental in leading up to the launch of this company, which we all refer to as something different, something new. Now, I want to bring on a friend of mine, a business partner, somebody who has been a mentor to me, somebody who I trust, and trust is a very important word here in this space. Somebody that I've known now for over 6 or 7 years. Somebody who, when I got started in the industry, was still building network marketing teams. And in my first business, really, we had an opportunity to work together, and I got to learn and follow this gentleman. And then over the course of the last 6 or 7 years, a lot of you guys know the story about how, you know, when we got a phone call from Ron back in, you know, in July, and, you know, Ron said, you know, you guys are going to want to take a look at this thing. One of the main reasons, if not the most important reason we got started, was because Ron had never called me one time in 6 years and said, hey man, you know, I got a comp plan here that you guys can make a lot of money in, or hey man, I got my hands on this really great product or service, and I know you guys will kill it. But I'm not going to steal any of your thunder there, and I just want to introduce and say, hey Ron, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing real good, Justin. Thanks for having me out here today.
We've got all the slides, and we can go through some of this stuff, but you know, and we will, just to kind of stay on track. But if you could do us just a favor here and talk to us a little bit about, before you even brought it to me, like when did you learn about the product? We know now that you've known Waskar for a long period of time. Talk to us a little bit about, you know, what happened before you even called me.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. There wasn't actually a whole lot that happened before that, Justin. It was a kind of a organic situation that took place, but it was towards the end of May. It all runs together anymore, as you know. But yeah, Waskar reached out to me. Now, I've known Waskar for a little over 9 years, and I was COO for a company that he was one of the top producers for. And so when we broke into the Caribbean market, Waskar was the leader for Dominican Republic. And I had gotten to know Waskar over the course of some time, over the phone, over, you know, email communication, you know, Skype, things like that. Back then we were using a lot of Skype. Now it's all WhatsApp, seems to be. But, you know, as we were talking, I was getting to know the guy over the phone, and I thought, you know, I really need to go out and spend some time with him. Because anybody that knows me, I put a good team together and I keep them with me. I mean, I got guys that are still with me from 20 years ago. And so I was really, you know, hitting it off well with Waskar, but I wanted to go out, check him out, and see what he was all about. And so we ended up booking a trip out to Santo Domingo as well as Punta Cana. We were out there for about 2 weeks, and we started that trip off. It was. I'll kind of give you guys a visual, okay? Because I had no idea what we were coming into. I knew we were going to be meeting with the Minister of Tourism, which in Dominican Republic is as important as like the Vice President of the United States. Mm-hmm. Okay, so because I mean, obviously tourism is such a big market for Dominican Republic, and so as we were landing, it was about 10 o'clock at night, and we're coming into the airport, and there's just police lights everywhere, and I thought, what are we going into here? And so when we landed, it was actually, they were for us. And it was kind of cool. You know, we got a motorcade over to our resort. So we got picked up and escorted. And then the next day we got taken over to the Minister of Tourism's office, where we were able to go in and talk to him about what we were doing with the travel company at the time, and you know, what it could do for their economy. Because, you know, a lot of your third world countries have a lower class and an upper class, but there's not a lot of middle class. Okay, so that's kind of what we were going in for. And the 2 nights before we left Santo Domingo, we had a meeting that was planned. And so Waskar and his team had a bunch of people come in, about 600-700 people. And so we did a meeting. We got a standing ovation at the end, and they asked us to come back the next night. Well, we didn't typically just do a 24-hour notice and do another meeting, but we went ahead and did it. And what was really neat was on the first night, everybody seemed to know Waskar. And he greeted everybody with a hug. He really liked, the environment that he was in. Well, the next night, it was literally busloads of people coming in because they had heard about the meeting and what was going on. And we had people coming over from Haiti and stuff. So it was really exciting. But again, what I saw was Waskar as a leader, and how he embraced his team and how his team all knew him. And so that really impacted me. From there, we went on to spend about a week out in Punta Cana, and just some really, good downtime to get to know each other. And anyways, we hit it off. We became friends, and that's carried us over the years. He and I have looked for, different projects, different home runs to do together. We actually looked at doing an ICO, initial coin offering. But at the time, the U.S. government was very aggressive towards ICOs because there was a lot of bad ICOs being brought to the market. So we passed on that. And at that time, Waskar went on to another company that he did extremely well with, was making a ton of Bitcoin every month. And so, it was we'd stayed in communication, but it was a few years later, he called me and said, hey, listen, I've got this thing that I've been doing and I want to roll it out to the public. And I think it's the home run we've been looking for. And the first question I asked him was, can we help millions of people with it? He said, yeah, we can. And I said, globally? He said, yeah, globally. I said, okay, what are you doing? And so my wife and I, we sat down here in my office, and Waskar presented the very first PowerPoint to us. And I don't even think it was completed at that time. Mm-hmm. It was kind of a rough draft of it. And what had happened was Waskar had spent about a year working on his system, okay, building up his knowledge of Forex, building up his trade team, and getting algorithms in place and testing the algorithms, trading the algorithms live. And the results he was seeing was just absolutely incredible. And about 18 years ago, I developed a bot, and I didn't have backup algorithms, so it was a very short life for it. And we did good. I mean, 8 to 13% a week that we were hitting, but when it was done, it was done. It was just, we didn't have the algorithms to continue. We didn't develop them at the time. And so when I started looking into what Waskar had, I asked him, I said, so how many algorithms do you have? And he said, well, we got a handful of them. I said, well, what are you going to do about the future? He said, oh, we have a team that is headed up by my partner, Edwin Abad, and they're always developing new algorithms and testing new algorithms for months and months before we ever actually live trade them. And I said, oh, wow, that's incredible. That's exactly what needs to happen. And when I heard about the results he was getting, I said, listen, are you going to be full transparent? He said, yeah, I want to be transparent. I want to do things that the market's never seen before. And I said, okay, so, what kind of returns are you seeing? And he told me, I'm not even going to tell you guys here because, it was obviously turned up and trading very aggressively, had some leverage to it and stuff. And I said, okay, but if we're going to take this to the market, we got to turn that down a little bit. One, you don't want to risk, client money, which he said, oh yeah, of course we don't want to lose any money on behalf of our members. I said, but two, you get too high of a return and your regulating authorities aren't going to believe it either. And so the version that you guys see is tuned down. I mean, the system that Waskar has his hands on is amazing. I mean, it's aggressive what it can do. But he turned it down a little bit and made a lot of different, enhancements, modifications to get it ready for the market. We rebuilt the PowerPoint. I was given 3 weeks to get all the programming done, which usually takes 6 to 8 weeks minimum. But, I talked to my partner, my CTO and my chief marketing officer, talked to the partners, and they said, yeah, if this is what you think we need to do, let's do it. So we cleaned off our plate. We had a bunch of clients boarding at the time with us. We support dozens of network marketing companies globally. And that's also why I wasn't, presenting network marketing, was I didn't want anything that was a conflict of interest with any of my clients. And the thing about CashFX, as I was looking at it, is there's really no conflict of interest because you could do this with any business you're in right now, not leave your primary business, but have this as another stream of income. Because anytime you meet a millionaire, billionaire, whatever caliber person you meet, they have multiple streams of income. Okay. And so I saw this as another great stream of income that anybody could add to anything they're doing, whether that be a JOB or, they've got a brick and mortar business, they've got a consulting business, or they got a network marketing business. It didn't matter. This was a perfect fit for all of them. You didn't have to be an expert trader. okay, which was very important. I trained for years under Jared Martinez from Market Traders Institute. And it really is extensive to learn how to Forex trade effectively and develop a great lifestyle. And so when I talked to Oscar about what is your product, he said, well, we're going to teach people how to trade, but we want to break it down. Well, we had just finished some e-learning. The Conversion Pros, my company, had just finished some e-learning for a biotech company that I owned since have sold. But we developed e-learning for the industry. And so we started talking about that. And with e-learning, you know, looking at a 900% growth right now between now and 2025, I was like, man, this is perfect for what you're trying to do. You don't need a classroom setting. You don't need people traveling anywhere, any of that stuff. And, you know, a lot of times when you go through something for the first time, you're going to retain about 20 or 30%, where e-learning gives you the ability to go back and always rewatch and rewatch. Okay. And so, hey, leave it right there, actually, Justin. That's a perfect slide. I'll talk about that next. But with the e-learning, you know, it allows for more productivity with less human involvement. Okay, so again, you can watch it, you can interact with the e-learning, you can, you know, audio, whatever. You're learning from several different ways. Okay, and so you retain more of it, and then you always have to go back and watch again. But as you can see, these stats down here that Justin just flashed up, it's 40 to 60% less time than a classroom involvement, which means that the corporate office, being a startup like it is, has time to put their energy into other development, other infrastructure, you know, because that was another thing I asked Oscar, how long do you want to be around? What's your intention? He said, oh, I want to be here for 20 years. I said, great. You're what I call a legacy company. And I said, that's all I'm looking to build is legacy companies. I'm at an age now where, you know, with my career, I've spent the last 20 years building up my reputation, my infrastructure, you know, my I call it my cookie cutter way of doing business. This is my 21st startup that I've assisted on. And so there's a certain way of doing things. And I said that's perfect, you know, that you want to be a legacy-based company. And so what we, you know, started off with and have continued with is building an infrastructure underneath CashFX that is very similar to like what you'd see in a Fortune 500, Fortune 100 company. And it will continue to evolve and develop as time goes on. I always, you know, when I'm working on different client projects and things, I always remind them that you're focused on the goal, but you got to be flexible on the approach. Okay. And how many times, if you guys have been here with CashFX for very long, you know, they'll be heading in one direction, then they need to sidestep a little bit, still in the right direction, but they sidestep, and it makes it even better than what we had anticipated. Okay. And then when I realized, you know, okay, this is going to be involved in the Forex market, why is that so important to me? Not only have I been a Forex trader for years, but at the same time, I understand the market. And when you go into something, you want a huge market cap. Okay. You want as big of a market as you could possibly get. Well, the Forex market trades $5.3 trillion a day. All right. So it's hard to fathom that many zeros. I understand that. So let's start off small. How about the New York Stock Exchange? $20 billion being traded. That's a very large market. Most people think, oh, it can't get any bigger than the New York Stock Exchange. Depends on the circle you run in. Depends on, you know, your paradigm. It depends on where your mindset is. But the equities market is actually 191 billion. And then you take your futures market at 437, add all those together, guys, and they're a fraction of what the Forex market does daily. All right. What does that mean? It means that market right there is going to be more sustainable when it comes to market shifts like the pandemic that we're in right now. Okay. Now you saw CashFX make some shifts. Okay. At one point they came off of the actual bots that do the trading. Okay. They had to, because those bots, the algorithms were set up to trade, you know, fast and different market conditions. So that's when Edwin and the team came in and literally started doing some manual trading and using the same techniques and everything while they're developing other algorithms in the back end. All right. So it was absolutely incredible to see the way in which they shifted, and really it honed in on and magnified the ability and the skill set of Edwin and his trading team. All right. And so, you know, it's great. We got all the electronic stuff, but guys, it's absolutely critical that the guys doing the trading understand how to do the trading. And you couldn't have put them through a better test than what we just went through. So absolutely incredible what took place there. So anyways, as I'm talking to Oscar about, the company and what it's going to look like, I ask him, hey, what about transparency? He says, yeah, I want to be absolutely transparent. So then my mindset goes to regulatory authorities. All right, Waskar, what happens if the SEC or the CFTC, guys, is the commodity side of it. SEC is the security side. Okay, commodity side. Why is that so important? Well, if you don't realize it, Bitcoin is actually regulated as a commodity. Therefore, it would be the CFTC that would look at us. On the network marketing side, it's the SEC. Okay, so awesome, right? So we get both of them. And that was what I asked him. I said, what if the authorities want to come in and take a look at your books? And he said, that's fine. I said, what if they want to have you have those audited by a major, global bank? He said, great, let's do it. He said, matter of fact, if they want to come in, tell me when they want to come, and I'll fly them in and put them up while they're here. He said, I have no problem with that. I want to be full transparent. I want to be full legal, and my intentions going forward are nothing but that. Okay. Now I know Waskar's morals and values, integrity, is honesty. Matter of fact, it's even in the PowerPoint things if you guys, go through the presentation. But there it is, right there. There it is. So the reason that's so important is that, for the last 9 years, if Waskar wasn't going to uphold those morals and values, I would have seen it by now. Okay. Yeah. So when he tells me my intentions are nothing but, to make this legacy company with full transparency, look what's happened over the last, we launched officially, I think it was July 15th. All right. Yeah. Pre-launch was in June. And so what's happened since then to now has been transparency. A lot of people were asking about FX book or my FX book. That's something that's still being looked at. There was some algorithm things that we want to backload all of the trades into. But at the same time, guys, look at your back office right now. You got Web TV, right? Okay, so let me back it up a little bit. Web TV is a live trading in your back office if you haven't seen it yet. When they're not live trading, you'll still have some recordings. You can actually look at the ticker and line them up. So anyways, going back a little bit here. So after I went through all this stuff with him, talked about his numbers, talked about transparency, all this type of stuff, talked to my partners, decided, hey, we're going to go ahead and take on the project, which was quite a shift. I mean, we were looking at crypto mining companies and a bunch of stuff at that time. We were, starting on the processing and exchange platforms and things. And so we put all that on hold. And here's the two individuals right here, Waskar Lopez, our CEO, and Edwin Abad, our VP of Trading and Operations. So those are the two of the individuals I was just speaking about. I'll come back full circle to here in a moment. But so what I wanted to do was after I understood what it was Waskar was going to be doing with this company, I'd accepted the project. I picked up the phone and I ran it by Justin. I said, hey, I know you're involved in another crypto project right now and it's going pretty good for you. I said, I'm not calling to recruit you, buddy. I just want to get your feeling on this. What do you think about? And I just gave him a quick, I don't know, probably a 10-minute, just a download and said, what do you think of something like that? And he goes, you know what? I think that would actually be really good. He said, I know you said it wouldn't be a conflict of interest. He said, actually, I think it's perfect complement for what we're doing right now. And I said, well, that's great, man. And I said, he goes, how soon can I sign up? And I said, well, the software is not even in place. We just now accepted the project. Why don't you give me a little bit of time here? And so it was later that day. He called back again. And he said, hey, I talked to my partner about this, and Luigi. And he said, he's excited about it too. I want to bring him on for a minute. So he brought Luigi on. We went through and answered some questions and things. And again, working off very limited knowledge back then. And Luigi reiterated what Justin said. Hey, how soon can we sign up? And so it was, it was one of those. I said, give me a little bit of time. We at least got to get to a point with the software where we can accept, signups. And so as soon as we did, Justin had been in contact with me constantly, finding out how things were going. And so as soon as we opened the doors, Justin was one of the very first people into Cash FX, and excitedly so too. I mean, he could not wait. It was like waiting for Christmas morning to come. He understood, God had bestowed him with a vision of what was put in front of him. And there was nothing that was going to take that away from him. And so, Justin, I appreciate, your aggressiveness getting into the company, as well as, as you stated, 26,000 other people are here today because of that vision that you and Luigi had at the very beginning and where this was going. Yeah. And so, it was absolutely perfect timing, right place, right time. It really was. So All right, guys. So I've talked quite a bit about Waskar and Edwin. Let's continue forward here. I guess I'll do the front end of your presentation here for you
There
guys.
you go.
What's that?
I said, there you go. That works.
Why not, right?
Why not?
Okay. So while we were out in Punta Cana, I'm sorry, Panama City. I know where I'm at. When we were out in Panama City in November.
One of those beautiful countries.
One of those beautiful countries. Their water is beautiful, and the country's amazing. So anyways, while we were out there for the grand launch in November, I was already previous to this that Waskar had been searching for office space in that area. And guys, remember when I asked him, you know, how long are you going to be around? He said, I want to be a legacy company. Well, legacy companies do certain things to create a footprint, a permanent footprint. Whereas in my last 20 years of consulting in the network marketing and traditional corporate America on a global scale, there's certain things that start to happen when a company says one thing, but then their intentions are totally different. You'll start to see temporary things getting put in place, all right? But that never happened here with Cash FX. It was never about temporary. It was always about, you know, if we do this, can we make it scalable for later? Okay, so when you're talking scalability, that means you've got forward vision. You've got a, you know, a long-term vision here. So when we got to Panama, it was really exciting to be able to take people over and show them the new 10,000 square foot office that Cash FX bought. Okay, they didn't lease this space, they bought the space. And that's one of those things about creating that permanent footprint. Okay, on top of that, at the event, some members of Congress were there. All right, why would that happen? Well, Waskar is actually friends with the president of Panama, and it was involved in, you know, some of his campaigning that got him elected as president. So, as the office is nearing completion, now obviously these are digital prints here. All the TVs were up. It looked like Wall Street while we were there. There's a little office there, but a lot of the flooring and the walls and things like that were unfinished. Cash FX is importing all that from Brazil, along with the different furnishings and things like that. So obviously the pandemic has slowed that down. And so where they thought that they were already going to be launched and that we were going to be literally right now in Punta Cana. I know that because
this
it was going to
weekend.
happen. What's that?
We were supposed to be there this weekend.
Yeah, I know that because it was going to be, my daughter was going to do her 20th birthday out there.
I know, and it was supposed to be my birthday weekend there.
There you go. Exactly. Yes. Happy birthday, Justin.
Thank you.
So yeah, so I mean, obviously we had this big birthday thing planned, and you know, Justin and Brooke, and anyways, this was going to be a real fun environment, and so that didn't get to happen though, you know, but that's okay. It's going to happen. But so while we were, you know, out there and getting to experience this amazing office and just getting to, you know, meet all the individuals, there was, I would say, there was market makers. Now, what market makers are, sorry about the landscapers out back here, guys. What the market makers, what I refer to as market makers, is somebody who is has a large enough team that could literally sway markets. Okay, so Thailand, Philippines, Malaysia, Africa. You know, when you bring people in that have 50,000, 100,000, 200, 500,000, even 1 million people, we met with folks at the grand launch that were that large. Yeah. Okay, I think our largest guy there had 1.2 million people in his downline, and so all of the market makers were absolutely blown away, and which has been a great result, as Justin talked about. We've more than quadrupled the size of the company since November, and so the office space, this will be done here as soon as the markets open back up, and we have the opportunity to finish the furnishings and everything. This will be open back up, and then there's an open door policy, guys, where you guys can come in and meet the corporate staff. You know, obviously call ahead because not all the staff is there 24/7. So, you know, call ahead, but come on in, check out the office, check out, you know, meet the people behind the scenes.
That's so amazing, you know, because when you're talking about the office, Ron, I just want to add, you know, like we've all been part of companies that promise they have an office. The next thing you know, you have somebody in your city that says, hey, I live near that city, let me go see it. So they go there, and the next thing they know, they call you back and say, yeah, there's an office, there's an address, but there's nobody there. I mean,
or it's the size of a closet.
We all, So, you know, guys, to really have a real owners, like we told you, we've repeated it on every call. We've met them. We know they're real. We know who they are. They have a real office. We saw it. And, you know, you'll have the honor of going to Panama whenever you want. Actually go there. I mean, you'll be so proud of this office. So go ahead.
I mean, those are just to interject. Those are what we've been telling people for 10 months. It's great to hear the right things from owners. You want to hear that they have the right things in place, but then when you watch what they do, the level of investment that is continually being made into the infrastructure, the headquarters, the software, the technology, the marketing. I mean, they're constantly making these investments. Like you said, Ron, I mean, these are the signs of a legacy company.
Absolutely. And, you know, Justin, that's a really good point, you know, that when you watch what they do, because too many times people will draft a contract and they go, oh, everything's solid now. It's not just what's on the contract, because, you know, one way to break a contract is just to go out of business, right? To mismanage your business. So when you're looking to see where a company is going, you need to watch them. You need to listen to them. You need to read what's been put in writing. You need to look at several different aspects. You need to get with them face to face, which is one of the first things that I did. Perfect page for this, actually. I wanted to see right away what were the actual results of the trades that are being done, and, you know, was I going to be able to see any of the algorithms?
Right.
So the reason I say this is a perfect page here is, you know, I didn't get to meet EverFX in Florida, but what I did is I jumped on a plane. My wife and I, we went out to Florida. It was actually happened to be Waskar's 40th birthday at the time. And so we went out there, we went out on a yacht, spent some time with them. And over the course of about 4 or 5 days, Justin, you came down as well. And I was there in Kissimmee and in Florida. And so, matter of fact, I think the very first, if I'm not mistaken, very first power team call was done there next to the pool.
That's right. Yeah.
And so as we were there, Waskar had opened up a trade account just a few days prior to me getting there. And so by the time I got there, he had already gone up a couple $100,000 on this account. And he was just using one of the algorithms on this account. And what I experienced over the course of, now I told you it was very aggressive, okay? That the trading could be done extremely aggressive. And so what he was doing was he would set a trade in the morning, and then when you'd come back, that trade had already been closed out, and he'd set one in the evening, get up the next morning, set up another one. So he was only trading twice a day. Whereas, you know, with Cash FX and the full-time trading team, they might be in, you know, 400, 500 trades plus at any given time.
Yeah.
All right. So we're just talking about a small sample of that. But I witnessed this account going up it was hundreds of thousands of dollars in a matter of 4 days.
Yeah.
And so it was really quite amazing that, you know, and the percentage of that was astronomical as well. It wasn't like a, you know, $20 million account that was, you know, being traded and went up just a few points. No, it was, he traded fairly aggressively on it and almost doubled the account in less than a week and a half. So, you know, this system has the ability to be very aggressive. But the problem is when the regulatory authorities look at something like that, they go, no, that's not possible, you know, and then you have to prove why it is. Right. And so when you're rolling something like this out, just because you can do something doesn't mean that it should be put to the public right away. It needs to evolve over time. And so anyways, that's why I thought this was a perfect page. Is obviously, you know, at that point, Waskar already had, you know, the trade team in place that were using the EAs, expert advisors, also known as bots. You know, the different proprietary, you know, algorithms and strategies, the risk management, all that was in place, see guys, because he already had that going on for a year prior to launching the company. 6 months prior to launching the company is when he came up with the comp plan. Why is that so important that it went in that order? A lot of companies will come out with their comp plan, sell you on their comp plan, and then go, hey, isn't this great? Well, okay, but what's your product? You know? And I just lost a really good friend of mine, Jeff Babner. He was one of the top 3 MLM attorneys in the world. And Jeff always talked about, you know, when it came to simplifying, is this a product that's meant to be sold or a product that's meant to be consumed? Okay. Right. And there really is a big difference here, guys, because on the MLM side of things, when it comes to regulatory, you need to have a product that's meant to be consumed. If you're not going to consume that product, then what are you doing selling it? Okay. Now, consuming can be of different things. Consuming in this aspect is you're going through the education, you're learning something, you're learning a skill set, okay, that let's say something happened in your life and you had to leave Cash FX behind, okay, whatever that might be. I can't personally think of a reason, but let's say that happened, okay, and you had to leave Cash FX behind. It doesn't mean you're leaving your skill set behind that you learned through the academy. You can take that with you. And whatever level you're at, whatever level of understanding, which the academy, the e-learning is very interactive. Okay. So not only are you watching it and listening to it, but you're also interacting with it, answering different questions, putting puzzles together, so on and so forth, which allows you to really absorb more. But again, remember, you can go back as many times as you want. Okay. So you're consuming that product at that point. So now you've got a consumable product. Jeff used to say, you know, is this tuna fish sandwich for selling or is it for eating? Because if it's only for selling, then you don't have a product.
Yeah.
All right. This product here, anybody that's gone through it understands that it starts off with trading 101 and works its way through more advanced and more advanced. And we are working on the upper modules. We've got a full-time team that works on the academy 5 days a week, you know, anywhere from 8 to 12 hours a day. There's been a couple of shifts in the direction of the academy, really for, like I said earlier in the call, scalability. Yeah. Okay. So if you want to be around for a long time, each thing that you develop, it needs to be scalable. Okay. Because let's say you want to go in and add an extra module right in the middle of something. Well, if you're too locked in, you can't adjust what you've already done. Therefore, you have to scrap it and start over and rebuild it. So we thought, okay, now is the time to maybe make some of these adjustments. Now is the time to really make sure it's scalable. And that's what's been going on. So there's been a little bit of delay here, but I assure you guys, the academy is progressing so that you can get into the more advanced professional series and on into the Supreme series. I can't wait for everybody to get to the Supreme series, because this, guys, is really where my trading understanding for the Forex changed. Yeah. Okay. So all along, you're putting all these pieces in place. You're learning a skill set. But in the Supreme series, this is where you learn the psychology of trading. This is where you need to take and separate your emotion from your money. All right. Now, a lot of you might be going, oh, that's not possible. But listen, okay, along the way, there's been different packages that have been added in, allowing you to put money in your pocket, okay, earn while you learn, put money in your pocket so you can keep learning along the way, right? Okay. So as you're doing that, and you keep putting more and more money, this was part of evolution as well. Not all these packages were here. Right. Sometimes you had to write a package for, 2 times, maybe 3 times if you had to take some money home. So what we did is we went in, looked at all the weak spots, and then make suggestions back to Cash FX Corporate saying, hey, if we put packages in each one of these spots, people can literally put money in their pocket as they're learning. Okay. Right. So it really became an earn while you learn type of a scenario. And so my point in all of that, guys, is when you first jump into something, and whether you put your toe in the water, you jump in with both feet. Okay. When you do that, you don't know the end of the story yet. You only know the beginning, because that's where you started. That's where everybody starts, is at the beginning. Okay. If you've never been involved in Forex trading before, then you probably need to understand the terminology. It was like when I first went to the U.S. Air Force. I had no clue what they were talking about. They were using all these slang words and terminology. I had no idea what it was, but I had to learn that. Okay. Same thing here. If you guys don't understand some of the terminology and some of the basics of Forex trading, then you have no business going on to the next module and the next one and the next one. Matter of fact, there's no way you could be ready for the Supreme series if you didn't go through the elemental and advanced first. Okay. But when you get down to the Supreme series, keep in mind, you've built up a nest egg. You've built up some wealth over that course of time. Okay. Now you have more money to put into the market, or maybe you just earn your way all the way up to the 100,000 package and that's all you ever put in. It's totally up to you. Okay. But once you hit that Supreme series, you're going to start to understand how to detach your emotion and your mind from your money. Yeah. And that's so critical. I'll give a quick scenario of why. Okay. Let's say that you just went into a trade and you didn't fully understand what you were doing. You didn't go about your trade mantra, and you over leveraged yourself because the Forex market allows you to have a tremendous amount of leverage. Okay. These are things that are being managed for you guys behind the scenes. You don't even have to think about this when you come into CashFX right away. Okay. You don't even have to worry about that. But there are people, Edwin and his team are thinking about this every single day. They're dealing with this every day. Okay. So let's say that you went into a trade too heavy, you lose that trade. Well, human emotion gets involved, right? And so you start to get worked up. Okay, I'll make that money back. So you go in a little bit more leveraged on the next trade. And then let's say you lose that one too. Now you're in a major spiral. All right. So what do? You do it again. And again, next thing you know, your account's gone. Okay. So many times I've seen that happen with traders. I've been involved in a lot of different contests over the years for traders and things, and a lot of times paper trading and stuff, but it was really to test my skill set. I wanted to know I understood it. When you reach the Supreme Series, what it shows you is don't lose your trade mantra. If you lose a trade, it's okay. You got a lot more trades coming behind it.
You don't have to make it up on the next trade.
No, you don't. There's always one thing about this market is it's so big, which creates what? It creates an unlimited amount of opportunity and open trades to get involved in. Okay, so every series of this is absolutely critical. And so, anyways, guys, this Justin, if you want to turn the slide or wherever you're at now, I'll just keep talking here. So
let's stay here because I want to interject just a couple of things real quick. I want to ask our audience here. If you have tried on your own to open up a broker account before and trade Forex on your own, just do us a favor and type the word Forex in the chat. For those of you that have the chat open, if you've tried to trade Forex on your own before, we also like to be honest here. I'd love to know, if you guys lost. I mean, put the word loss. Last time we had a lot of people that came out and said, listen, I've tried and I continue to lose. We know that the statistic out there is 90% of the 90 million home-based retail traders, 90% of them lose most of their money. Most of their money. And so the education here is crucial. But I just want to recap in 30 seconds. We're dealing with a licensed broker, a licensed regulated broker in EverFX. EverFX is not going to strategically partner with CashFX, come to our launch event if we weren't really trading. That's number one. What do you got there? The card.
They came to the launch event. They handed their cards out. I've never seen another company.
Is that Najib? It's Najib's card, right?
Pablo Milan.
Pablo, yeah.
Never.
We've never seen another company in the space. One, not only have they not revealed who their broker is, they've certainly have not invited them to a public setting. So we know that, right? We know that's going on. We also know that there's real trades taking place because all you have to do is log into your back office, and Ron and his team, in conjunction with the CashFX engineers and in conjunction with EverFX has put together this web TV where they have given us 100% transparency. And listen, we had Jeremy on yesterday, and then last week, Jeremy's been pro trading for 7 years, and he now sits in front of that web TV and he looks for opportunities. Not only is he making money through CashFX, but he's looking for opportunities where he can place some other trades and almost like doing some mirror trading on his own already. Over and over, we have these pro traders who are coming on and looking at that web TV and saying, man, undeniably, these guys are placing trades and they're winning. That's the transparency piece that was missing in the space. There's no doubt.
Absolutely. And I've had the opportunity, Justin, because I do, work with the legal team. I was able to, thanks to my friend Jeff Abner, he helped us get in the direction to structure the legal team for CashFX.
Yeah.
It's in the direction of the SEC attorneys. And then from there, we went in the direction to get the CFTC attorneys, which, it was actually, I wasn't going to touch too much on the legal, but I will tell you guys that the legal team that sits behind CashFX it's a firm with about 1,200 attorneys. And the head attorney on this, his name's Dan. He's a former senior investigator from the SEC and then went on to finish his career as a senior investigator for the CFTC. So this gentleman knows exactly how to shut companies down for violation. But at the same time, he knows how to keep them in business and, alleviate any violations and things.
Yeah.
So, couldn't have asked for a better, legal team for Cash FX and what we have in front of us right now. But
listen, Justin, I'm going to ask you, I just want to interrupt. I just want to say a couple of words because in 5 minutes I have to leave. So you'll be sharing the rewards and finishing the call with Ron. First of all, I just want to say, Ron, thanks a lot. I mean, listen, 500 on the call today. We usually have 200-300, but yes, they all came also because they knew that you were coming. I really want to thank you. Second of all, I want to thank everybody on the call because as we're talking about now, you know, I've tried, most of us have tried trading and most of us have lost. I'm not saying that some of you have not. Good if you have. We're just saying that it's difficult. So now what we're telling everybody is not only do we have a company that's doing it for us, and as you can see, we're always winning, that now you can take it one step further. We have an educational platform that if you want to learn how to do it, we'll be able to do it. And I can't wait. We already have part of the training. The other part is coming in, like, I'm glad that Ron talked about it. They're actually working on it right now. So it's all coming in. I can't wait to get my hands on it because I really want to learn. I want to take it one step further on. All I want to say to everybody on this call is I'm blessed to be part of such a wonderful community.
Yes.
I'm blessed to have so many wonderful leaders. I mean, all over the world. You just listen to the chat here today, and you can tell there's so much love, affection. I mean, the camaraderie that we brought on is awesome. And why is it awesome? Because we attract what we are. We are attracting people like me, Justin, like Ron, like Oscar. We're all attracting that kind of beautiful people, and this is what it's all about. Yes, you need a company. Yes, you need transparency. Yes, you need leadership. But all of that comes out to the top people at the top is what's going to attract everything else. And right now, the results are just awesome, and we're also proud to be part of it. So thanks a lot for letting me share just my thought, Justin.
Absolutely, buddy.
I have to leave in 5 minutes. Ron, I can't wait to see you again and maybe drink a beer at least.
absolutely, my friend. Looking forward to it.
A big one, a big one. And you know what? There's a lot of people online. I'm telling you right now, when we went to Panama, it was mind-blowing, okay? We had the time of our life. But try your hat because in Punta Cana, we have a lot more people coming, Ron. We have a lot more people.
We're going to have 3,000 to 5,000 people there, easy. Waskar said yesterday, I think on the corporate call, 5,000 people. I said, oof. It's going to be standing room only.
Anyway,
awesome.
Bye. See you, Luigi.
Okay, so we've gone over a lot, Ron. Go ahead, man. Continue.
I was just going to say the reason I brought up the legal team was that you know, one of the things I have to do when dealing with the legal team is gather certain documents from CashFX corporate and go over them with the legal team. And right after or at Panama, matter of fact. One of the documents that we gathered at that time was over 401 open trades on a trade sheet that I went over with the legal team, and they were blown away with the results. And so, you know, all the way back to November, I've had the opportunity to look at certain things that most people won't get their eyes on, and it's pretty incredible to see on the surface. They're doing what they say they're going to do, and then also behind the scenes, they're still doing what they say they're going to do. So there is no you know, Wizard of Oz behind the scenes, you know, behind the curtain that's doing, you know, funny business. It's who you see out front. It's Waskar, it's Edwin, it's, you know, it's just John and Justin and myself and so on. I mean, the people that are now, there is a huge team behind Cash FX. There's a huge team behind the conversion pros. We do all the software, the back office, commission tracking, you know, advertising or marketing, so on and so forth. But both teams are evolving rapidly. And so
evolving and growing. I mean, growing.
Absolutely.
The Cash FX support team has what, tripled or quadrupled in size since we began.
Absolutely, yeah. As well as we put in different AI technology to help out.
I saw that today, man. I put in a support ticket, and it popped up. It was the first time it popped up a message that says, "Hey, is this what you were looking for?" Now, it wasn't what I was looking for, but it gives you the feedback to, I guess, help improve those results, right?
Yeah, because see, anytime AI, guys, is it's like a baby, all right? And so when you first launch AI, you got to train it, you got to teach it things, right? So it starts off kind of crawling, and then it'll walk, kind of wobble a little bit, and then it gets to running. That all takes time to get to that point. So as you're looking at these different responses that are coming up as you're putting in your support tickets, if it's not what you're looking for, don't say yes, because if you say yes, you're not going to get a response to your support ticket because you already got the answer.
Right.
Right. So if it's not what you're looking for, let's say you want a 2FA reset, and it tells you, you know, based on security reasons, you know, you got to ask your sponsor to do your 2FA reset. don't say, yeah, that gave me what I was looking for. Say no. Okay. If you're the sponsor and you're trying to submit the ticket, don't say, yeah, that was what I needed. Say, no, it's not what I needed. That way it teaches the AI as well. Oh, you need to go to the next step here. Okay. And then your ticket will be submitted. But yeah, things like that. We're trying to alleviate some of the tickets, trying to get the answers to you guys quicker, and just, overall better support. And, but yeah, it's been a real evolution. What CashFX has been through already, it just, in the short time it's been open, that's 2 years worth of growth on any other company. I mean, it's just literally been, anywhere from 15 to 18 hour days, 6-7 days a week. And I'm not talking from one individual. We're talking about from a team of people. So
I'm glad you brought that up, and I just want to mention that again, because we do have a large crowd here, and this crowd is going to filter this message out. The AI around the support, guys, just to clarify that and repeat that, when you put in a support ticket, it's going to try and to minimize the amount of time it takes for support to get back to you. If there's an FAQ that relates to your issue, it's going to ask you, it's going to serve you up that FAQ. If that FAQ has answered your question, say yes, so the support ticket doesn't have to go in and not waste somebody's time. And if it doesn't, say no, but make sure you guys are paying attention to that, because it's going to get more, it's going to learn, and it's going to just help us and the thousands of members that join after us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Ron went over the legal part, guys. Yes, I know people are asking us all the time, when's this going to reopen? When is this piece going to be ready, guys? You heard it here. I mean, we're not just saying things are happening in the background to delay things. A lot of things are happening in the background, so we've got to be patient. I know that Waskar has come out and said a few times that, hey, if we could reopen the United States in 2020, that's the goal. But just stay focused and continue to be patient. What the important part to understand here is those things are being worked on diligently. There's a lot of moving parts, just like phase 2. Ron, I don't know if you want to touch on any of that.
I don't want to go too deep into it because
no, but it's coming. It's being worked on.
It is definitely coming. And sorry, Waskar's texting me here at the same time.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, it's phase 2 is definitely coming. It's been a little bit fluid. Okay, phase 2, there's a lot of interaction with the legal team for phase 2 to be able to come out in a proper manner.
Sure.
And there's been some things that we thought, we thought the regulations was going to be a little quicker than it has been. But as the legal team digs in and looks at different things, there's so many different angles because CashFX is so unique that, we've overcome a lot of the things that they say, oh, we could be this or you could be that. Okay, well, we've already overcome those. Now there's certain things that, we have to address and certain directions we have to go. There will be KYC, there will be sanctions, audits and things like that going on. Sanctions, if anybody doesn't know what that is, it's certain groups, individuals, countries that, the U.S. People cannot work with, okay, because of certain laws, sanctions laws and things in place. So there's a lot of things that are still being done and being worked on behind the scenes, even on the legal side. There's legal compliance that needs to be done in other countries as well. But all of that stuff is, being addressed and it wasn't like, there's been companies I've gone into in the past that do it wrong, where they go out there and then they don't get a legal team until after it's too late. Now they got legal problems. Now they're trying to fight legal problems on and on. I've heard different rumors about CashFX, guys. There is no legal issues going on with CashFX right now. It was something that I talked to Waskar about at the very beginning, that, if you're going to be a legacy company with longevity, there's certain things that we need to address. We need to go and get our own legal team. We need to start to show the intention of the company is to be legal and compliant in every country. Right. We need to, take certain steps. And so legal compliance is not an overnight thing, guys. It could easily, give you an example of the United States, it could easily take a year and well over $1 million to get compliant, okay? And depending on what it is that you have to do to be compliant, it could cost you upwards of $2 million. I mean, it is not cheap. We've got a large team of legal counsel, like I say, about 1,200 on the team, all experts in their own right, and whether they be KYC and sanctions or whatever their specialty is. a lot of the attorneys that we work with from this firm are former heads to different departments for the government. Okay. So as we're addressing these things, we're getting the best possible answers and guidance that we can get. And then, and then we navigate. So phase 2, I know that was your question, Justin. Phase 2 really is fluid. It is coming. There's a good plan for phase 2. Matter of fact, on the last legal call, we all agreed, including the attorneys, oh yeah, that's probably the best possible path forward right there. Let's go that direction. Okay. But I get asked all the time, hey, what's the ETA on reopening the United States? I don't know. I have no idea because I don't have a crystal ball.
When it's ready.
And what's that?
When it's ready.
Exactly. When it's ready.
Like when my wife is cooking dinner and I can smell it and I go out there and ask her how long until dinner's done. And she always tells me when it's finished.
Exactly. Well, it's kind of like, Justin, I know you know my CMO, my CTO, Jamie Beck.
Jamie, yeah.
And, when I first started working with Jamie, I didn't understand the mindset of a programming engineer, software engineer. Okay. But when I see it as something simple, and I'm giving you kind of a lateral understanding here, from the outside looking in, okay, you might go, oh, that's simple. You just need to change this and this. But it's not always like that, guys. When you change this and this, it could open a whole new can of worms or go down all these different rabbit holes that you never thought of before. But in order to be fully compliant and really secure that longevity for your legacy company, you've got to go down all those rabbit holes, okay? And so depending on how far and how deep those go will determine on what kind of time frame it is. Obviously, if CashFX could open its doors back up safely right here in the United States right now, today, they would do it. But it wouldn't be the best interest for everybody involved. The best interest for everybody involved is to continue through the legal compliance, check all the boxes, cross the T's, dot the I's, and then when your legal counsel says, yep, you're absolutely good to go, then you go forward again. And honestly, guys, I don't care how old you are, if you look at this little moment in time where you're waiting for this, yeah, it's kind of like Christmas morning comes around and then you don't get to open your gifts where everybody else did. Okay. Kind of sucks, right? But the fact is, when the U.S. is legal and compliant and we open the U.S. doors again, it'll be a catapult for the rest of the world because everybody's watching what's going on right here in the United States because the U.S. is one of the toughest on regulation. So it'll be that springboard that, that everybody's looking for. So, that's about all I can say about that. If you have any international business partners or anything, you can get with them and work, other markets. You just don't work here in the United States right now. So,
and let me just touch on it because we do. I mean, this is a record for us for the last 2 weeks. We have 128 first-time guests on today. 128.
Welcome.
Welcome to the call. This is a little bit out of the ordinary for us because we're a little over the hour, and Ron is sharing a lot of valuable insight, things that we don't usually dive into this level of detail on the call. And so if you're here as a guest, what I want to say is this. You want to find a place where you can become a part of, where it's going to be around, like Ron said, and Waskar's vision, 20 years. And so that's why these things are being done in the aspect in the format that they are being done. And so you're absolutely in the right place at the right time. So we've covered a lot. We've talked about transparency. We've talked about technology. We've talked about live trades. We've talked about the academy continually being developed and enhanced for scalability.
Absolutely. I'm actually going to excuse myself here from the call. Oscar's been waiting for me here for a while, so we got to go over some stuff here today. But thank you so much for having me here on the call, Justin, and hopefully I can find time to make it back out to another one here, soon.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Matter of fact, I think this is my first one I've actually been on with you guys, and it's sometimes it's hard to slow things down behind the scenes. But welcome to the 128 guests. You guys are looking at an incredible business model here, and to everybody else, thank you so much for your focus, your hard work, your loyalty here with CashFX. So, Justin, thanks for your leadership, my friend.
Appreciate you, Ron, and we'll see you on the next call, buddy.